Welcome back to another Chatting with Wisdom. So today is Thursday, so it is Talk Back Thursday. And so I am happy to be coming back again today to be talking about just random thoughts and random topics. And so I am super excited about being able to do these Talk Back Thursdays and having these conversations. So I am sneaking in very quickly to have this conversation, and I'm leaving my window open. So I'm really hoping that it is not going to be too distracting in terms of sound and that it's not going to be too loud. And so I am just super excited about being able to come in and have these conversations with you because of the conversations that we were having yesterday on our weekly interview series. So yesterday we met up with Maury. And so if you haven't heard that podcast, then I invite you to go back and have a listen. So it was last night's Chatting with Wisdom weekly interview series podcast. And so it was, but a lot of the conversations was coming back to like just having this free flowing conversation and like how just because we believe something now doesn't mean that that's going to be the case in a month from now, 2 years from now, 10 years from now. And so it's just really important for us to be able to know that we need to still have a plan. So we still need to have an idea of where it is that we're going. But so we're still going to get to that same destination, but the process of how we're going to get there may not be all the exact same way that we had anticipated when we were planning things out and when we were thinking things through. And because one of the things that they talk about in manifesting is that you need to visualize all the details. So visualize the smell, visualize the feeling, visualize. So using all your five senses of being able to get to where it is that you want to go and having that full on destiny of where it needs to happen. And for some people, everything's going to go exactly the way that they laid it out, and kudos to them. But for most of us, things just kind of happen and things just kind of shift and things just kind of change. So when I set out to do Talk Back Thursdays starting for 2023, the intention was that it was going to be every Thursday. And then life just took over and I just wasn't able to. So I don't even know how many that I had done initially. And then it was just things just weren't flowing the way that it needed to because life was taking over and life was happening. And sometimes that's what we need to do is go with the flow. But we beat ourselves up so much for not doing all the things exactly the way that we had intended them to be done. And so long as we arrive at the same destination, so long as we arrive to where we need to go and what it is that we need to be getting to, is the ultimate goal. And what it looked like in our own minds may not be what it actually looks like in the final product. And so that is something that's really important for us to be able to remember, is that we have to go with the flow sometimes. And even with being, so I had things were like really crazy busy. I changed over to the new system, still working on the new system and still getting things switched over. But I was doing this right at the same time as getting planned for the women's conference, which meant that there was like lots of learning curves. There was lots of different things that I needed to try and figure out in around that time frame. And then so some things needed to give. I needed to let go of some things, and Talk Back Thursdays was one of them. Even though I was like really set in my mind that this is what I really want to do, and I really want to be able to get those messages out and having these conversations, because that's one of the things that I've had in terms of feedback that people have talked about, that have said like, hey, I miss your just random chats of random topics of something that you are thinking about or whatever it is that's going on. And I stopped doing them just because, again, life had taken over. And I was doing them because I think I started them during COVID, when like it was just crazy. Couldn't go anywhere, couldn't do anything, couldn't just randomly have conversations with people. So I would just jump on live and have these conversations. And so intentionally, I set out for us to be able to have these conversations on Thursdays, and to see where things would go and where they would be at and how we would actually get there. And so, but things just happened. And then it's like, okay, so the conference is over, everything's good. I take my 1 week off, but then after the conference, like always, and then as part of my own self-care, but then life took over after that as well. So like on the Monday, things started getting real with the baby coming, and then all the different things that have come with that. And then I ended up being sick, and I'm still not 100% better, but I'm better. And so now, at the end of March, so like April 1st was my official, I'm like back to work getting things done. But that meant that I'm like 3 weeks behind on everything else. And so part of me would be like, okay, well, I have to stay up like 1,000 hours and I have to try and get all these things done. But it's like, no, like that has come and gone. And I'm sick because of other things that I didn't look after. There's like, my body is telling me that I need to rest. My body is saying that there's something that I'm fighting off. I have not been as sick as I was since 2019. And so like that says a lot in terms of like how down my immune system was for me to be sick as long as I was, because I was trying to pile on too many things. And I know that that's what it was, is that I had too many things being piled on. I had all these different things that were happening. And so my broken leg was one of the things that kind of evolved and had those things started. And then being able to like, so then I was finally getting things settled in, and then my husband was getting sick, and he was having some health issues, and then my mother-in-law was having health issues. And so like all these things were all compounded. So even though I had tried to slow down and looked at a different approach, looked at a different way of being able to do things, life continued to happen. But I still forgot to make sure that I was sticking with the implementation of doing the things that I needed to be doing. And because I was trying to pick up all the extra slack of all the things that needed to be done everywhere else, that I didn't put into place the things that I needed to, and readjust the rest of my schedule to be able to make to adjust what it is that I need to do so that I can replenish myself. So I am no good to anyone else if I am not replenishing myself. And I talk about this all the time with clients, is that we need to look after ourselves. And if we don't look after ourselves, then we're not going to be able to look after anyone else. And so I have a beautiful group of women who, when I had said, okay, guys, I'm sick, I'm not sure how things are going to go. And they're like, okay, well then, so you're taking the time off, right? Like you're taking, so I did take one-to-one time off, and then but group stuff I was going to continue to do. And they're like, but you're taking time off, right? Because you would be telling us to take the time that we need to be able to get better. You would be telling us to take that time off to be able to. So it was that reminder, that mirror that actually goes back up of all the things that I say all the time. So Yoga Nidra happens on Tuesday evenings. And so I had said to the group, I am going to be there for Yoga Nidra, but I'm not going to be recording today because, so if the internet's stable, then I actually get to share it out. But I'm not going to be recording today because like it's definitely, I was all congested. There's definitely not going to be anything that I was going to send out because I wasn't going out with a nosy stuffling conversation, right? So being able to, and so I showed up. And when I showed up, and I had canceled, I think the week before, but when I had showed up, one of the things that the ladies had said is, okay, so you're going to play a recording and you're going to participate in the Yoga Nidra with us, right? And so it was like, well, that wasn't my intention. I was still going to do a meditation. And they're like, no, you need the rest too, and you need some healing, and you need some benefits. So you can play the recording, and we will all join in on the recording. So I just shared the sound with everyone else, and I participated in the meditation with everyone. And that was what my body needed. And I needed that rest. And then the rest of the week, I ended up taking that time off because I really do need to take care of myself. So sometimes we need to adjust and go with the flow. Sometimes we need to like make whatever changes or adjustments that allows us to be able to still look after ourselves. And so that's my message today, is go with the flow and make sure that you are meeting whatever needs are necessary for yourself. So on that note, I will chat with all of you guys later, and have a fabulous day. Have a great week. And I should be on for next week's Talk Back Thursday. And I don't know what the topic is going to be. It all just kind of goes with I just kind of go with the flow in terms of that. So I don't even have it planned or scheduled. So it's based on conversations that I'm having through the week and what is just kind of sticking out for me. So talk